What if the very thing you believe is holding your connection together, that relentless, tender desire to heal and save them, is the silent force tearing it apart? You feel it, don't you? That profound urge to be the sanctuary for your twin flames' storm, to offer the blueprint for their peace, to gently guide them home to a version of themselves you just know is waiting. It feels like love in its highest form, a sacred duty written in the stars. But here lies the beautiful, heartbreaking contradiction the soul must eventually face. Sometimes the most loving gesture is not a reaching out, but a conscious, grounded standing back. This isn't about giving up. This is about understanding a divine physics, where your light, when aimed with an agenda, casts a shadow of pressure they are ordained to flee from. It's about realizing you have been trying to write their chapters in a story where you are meant to be the author of your own. Let's explore the delicate art of release, not as a loss of hope, but as the very cultivation of the soil in which a healthier, freer connection might finally grow. Let's talk about the karmic trapdoor hidden under that beautiful, well-intentioned rug of yours. The one you've been sweeping your twin flames' pain under while calling it love. You see yourself as the lighthouse, the steady beam in their storm, and who could blame you? The love you feel is so vast, it seems to demand heroic action. But here's the quiet mystery, the one we often dance around. Every time you appoint yourself as their savior, you're not ascending the karmic ladder. You are signing a subtle contract that keeps you both stuck in a classroom you've supposedly already graduated. Think of it this way. Your souls agreed to this meeting long before you took a breath in this lifetime. You signed up for a masterclass in mirroring, not a tutoring session. When you see their struggle and your first impulse is to rush in with a lesson plan you wrote for them, you're essentially telling the universe, I know better than the divine curriculum. It's a cosmic case of arrogance disguised as altruism. You are leaning over their soul's desk, pointing at the difficult equation they're meant to solve, and whispering the answer. You might get a fleeting smile of gratitude, but the soul knows. The soul remembers it was meant to struggle with that problem, to taste the frustration, to have the eureka moment alone in the quiet. By giving them the answer, you haven't saved them. You've stolen from them. You've robbed them of the resilience, the self-trust, the unique victory that was theirs to claim. And the karmic kickback? The universe, in its infinite fairness, will now arrange for you to sit before a mirror of your own. Someone else who is desperately eager to solve your problems for you, to dismiss your path, to override your timing, and you will feel the gentle, frustrating squeeze of your own medicine. It's a divine setup, really, almost humorous in its elegance. You wanted so badly to be the teacher? Then you must learn the teacher's hardest lesson, to watch the student struggle. Your twin flames running, their resistance, their apparent backsliding. It's not a rejection of your love. It's their soul's rebellion against your unsolicited syllabus. They are fighting for the right to their own journey, and in doing so, they are giving you the gift of your own lesson. Sovereignty, the realization that you are not the architect of their awakening, is the very milestone you need to reach in your own. their chaotic timing is the perfect mirror for your own impatience. Their refusal to be healed by you is the exact reflection of your own buried refusal to be controlled. So you see, this isn't punishment, it's alchemy. The savior complex is the raw lead of your ego, and the frustration it creates is the fire that will transmute it into the gold of detached sovereign love. And you know what the funniest part is? In all this frantic effort to manage their spiritual progress, you've taken your eye off your own garden, which is now, quite frankly, a bit overgrown with the weeds of their business. You're watering their plants while yours wither. The karmic balance sheet gets messy. You're accruing debt in a currency you can't even see, all because you forgot the first rule of any true partnership. You cannot serve from an empty vessel, and you cannot build a palace on two different blueprints. Your palace is yours. Theirs is theirs. The bridge between them can only be built when both foundations are solid and separate. So the next time you feel that urgent, loving, desperate pull to fix, to guide, to save, pause. That urgency is your signal, your own soul's alarm bell, telling you that a crucial piece of your own work is waiting, unattended, right at your feet. Tend to that. The most profound impact you will ever have on them is to become so utterly complete in yourself that your very presence is an invitation, not an intervention, which leads us to a peculiar, almost paradoxical truth about the energy you send their way. A truth that explains why your most loving intentions sometimes seem to hit a wall of coldness and make them run even faster. Now, let's get into the gritty, almost funny physics of the heart, where your lovingly launched rescue mission translates in their inner world as a siege on their castle walls. You're beaming over what you call healing, what you feel as a pure stream of golden light, wishing only for their peace. But have you ever considered how that beam lands? Imagine sitting in your own garden, perfectly content in your messy, sun-drenched solitude, thinking your own tangled thoughts, when suddenly your neighbor leans over the fence and begins vigorously pruning your roses. They smile, they mean well, they are sure your roses need it. But you didn't ask. You didn't hire a gardener. You were perhaps enjoying the wild, overgrown beauty of them, or you had a secret plan to tackle them next Tuesday. The act itself, the pruning, might be objectively helpful, but the violation of boundary, the assumption of need, the sheer audacity of it sparks a fire in your belly. That's your free will, your sovereignty, your sacred space ringing the alarm bell. And so you react. You might get cold, you might snap, you might build a taller fence. That, dear soul, is the alchemical resistance we rarely talk about. Your twin flames energy system is not a passive receiver. It's a brilliant, intelligent, and fiercely protective citadel. It has one primary directive: to preserve the soul's journey and honor its choices, even the painful, stupid-looking ones. When you project energy, and yes, your constant thinking about them, your nightly prayers with a specific outcome, your visualizations of them being happy with you, all of that is a projected energy packet. It arrives at the gates of their citadel with a return address stamped love. But the content of the package reads change. It vibrates with the frequency of You are not yet right. You are not yet whole. You are not yet where I need you to be. Their soul, the gatekeeper, takes one look at this and, with the wisdom of the ages, files it not under gift, but under ultimatum. The defense systems activate. What you perceive as their running, their hot and cold behavior, their sudden silence, is simply the raising of the drawbridge. They are not, in that moment, rejecting love. They are defending the most sacred ground there is, the right to their own timing, their own lessons, their own unfolding. Your light, however glorious, feels like a spotlight pinning them to a place they are not ready to occupy. And nobody, no matter how bright the light, enjoys feeling cornered. Let me put it another way, maybe a bit more playfully. You know that feeling when someone is standing just a little too close in a conversation? You can feel their breath, you can see every pore, and an instinctive part of you starts leaning back, creating inches of space for your own comfort, for your own field. That's micro-energy. Now magnify that 1,000-fold with the psychic and emotional chords of a twin flame connection. Your unsolicited healing is the equivalent of standing in their energetic personal space, whispering a blueprint for their future directly into their aura. It's incredibly intimate, and intimacy without explicit consent is, let's be honest, a violation. So they step back. They create chaos to create distance. They pick a fight over nothing because a fight is a solid, defined wall they can put between your energy and theirs. It's not about the fight. It's about the buffer. The tragedy, the beautiful, ironic tragedy, is that in your attempt to pull them closer with your healing, you become the very pressure that pushes them away. You become the reason the drawbridge stays up. So what's the answer? It's not to stop loving. It's to change the address on the package. It's to redirect that immense, powerful, transformative beam of caring away from their citadel and onto your own inner landscape, which, let's be honest, probably has a few unpruned roses and maybe a couple of charmingly overgrown weeds of your own. When you focus that light inward, a miracle happens. Your own vibration rises. You stop emitting signals of neediness disguised as aid, and you begin to emit a signal of wholeness. And a wholeness, a peaceful, self-contained sovereignty, is not a threat. It doesn't demand a defense, it's an invitation. It's a gentle knock that asks, "Are you open?" rather than a package that says, "I know what's inside for you." And sometimes, just sometimes, when you're busy building your own garden so beautifully that you forget to check if they're peeking over the fence, that's when you hear the quiet click of a lock, and a gate you never pushed on begins to swing open, all on its own. But that's a mystery for another moment. The mystery of what happens when you stop being the architect of their awakening and become instead the living proof of your own. Let's get brutally, beautifully honest for a moment. That intense focus you have on their woundedness, that meticulous catalog you keep in your heart of their fears, their blockages, their unhealed trauma, it's fascinating, isn't it? The clarity you possess about the work they need to do is nothing short of remarkable. You can trace the lines of their pain like a map you've memorized in the dark. But here is the quiet, earth-shattering mystery we often run from. That map you're so intently studying, It isn't of their territory. It's a perfect mirror image chart of your own inner landscape. The twin flame connection, in its divine humor, handed you the most accurate self-diagnostic tool in existence, and you've been trying to use it to read someone else's vital signs. Think of it like this. You're standing before a full-length mirror, but you're convinced you're looking through a window into another room. You see a smudge on the glass, and you fret about the cleanliness of the room beyond. You see a crack in the reflection, and you anguish over the damaged wall on the other side. Your entire focus is on fixing what you perceive to be over there. But the smudge, the crack, they are on your side of the surface. All this time, you've been a spiritual detective, building a case file on another soul, and the entire investigation, every piece of evidence, points unerringly back to the detective. Their perceived emotional unavailability? Look closer. Where in your life have you been unavailable to yourself, abandoning your own needs to cater to the imagined needs of another? Their fear of commitment. Get curious. Where have you been refusing to fully commit to your own path, your own joy, your own life, waiting for a union to give you permission to start? The reflection is never broken. It is mercilessly accurate. This is where the real work begins. The sacred pivot from projection to possession. Every single quality that triggers you in them, that you wish to heal in them, is a disowned fragment of your own self, waving a frantic flag for your attention. You call it compassion, this endless gazing at their wounds. But true compassion is inclusive. It must begin with the one who is gazing. Your fixation is a form of spiritual bypassing, a clever trick of the ego to have you circling the airport of your own soul forever, too busy managing another's landing to ever touch down in your own terminal. So you must ask, not with shame, but with the dawn of true curiosity. What if my greatest service to this connection is to stop looking at the mirror and start looking at me? What if their so-called running is simply them holding space for you to finally, desperately turn around and face the source of the image? The moment you withdraw that piercing, diagnosing attention from them and beam it inward with the same intensity, the alchemy starts. You begin to gather up those projected pieces, those judgments you cast onto them, and you welcome them home. You sit with your own fear of abandonment instead of blaming them for triggering it. You nurture your own inner child instead of resenting them for their emotional youth. You commit to your own passions instead of waiting for them to give you a reason. And as you do this, a funny thing happens. The mirror, because it is just a mirror, has no choice but to reflect the new you. The person standing before it is softer, more whole, less demanding. They are no longer a frantic window washer trying to clean a surface that isn't dirty. They are simply a being, becoming. And from that place of authentic, unshakable self-possession, you emit a new frequency, one of invitation, not intervention. You are no longer saying, "You need to heal so we can be together." You are quietly embodying, "I am healing and I am at peace wherever I am." That, dear soul, is the ground from which all miracles grow. It is the end of the chase and the beginning of the true journey, side by side with your own sovereign spirit, which was, you'll discover, the only flame you were ever asked to tend. So here you are, at the edge of all that striving. The manuals you've studied, the energies you've directed, the silent sermons you've preached to a heart you thought was your congregation, it all dissolves here into a simpler, more profound understanding. This journey was never about assembling a missing half from the scattered pieces of another. It was always about recognizing the complete and resonant instrument you already are, and in doing so, learning to play your own part so beautifully that the universe cannot help but harmonize. Think of it like this. You've been standing in the grand concert hall of creation, holding your violin, utterly fixated on the cellist across the stage. Their timing is off, you think. Their tone is too somber. You've been so busy trying to conduct their movement, to mend their strings with your anxious will, that you've forgotten to rosin your own bow. The music is stalled, filled with the silent tension of your unmet expectations. Now, imagine you take a breath so deep it fills your shoes. You close your eyes, and you begin to play your own score, the one written just for you, with all its gentle rises and passionate falls. You play it not for the cellist, but Tadro for the sheer joy of the sound, for the love of the vibration in your own hands. You play it for the forgotten parts of your own soul, waiting in the dark to be sung back to life. And a miracle quiet as dawn begins to unfold. Your own music, rooted and clear, creates a field of sacred order. It doesn't demand a duet. It simply offers a frequency so true that any other instrument tuned to the same eternal song cannot help but find its place within the arrangement. The harmony you sought never came from managing another player. It was always born the moment you trusted your own notes enough to give them fully to the air. This is the ultimate release, the final surrender of the savior complex. To trade the heavy toolbox of repair for the lighter, more courageous instrument of self-expression. Your twin flames' path is their own sacred composition. Your endless commentary, however loving, was just static over their melody. The most devout act of faith you will ever perform is to turn your exquisite sensitivity, that radar you've used to track their every emotional weather front, inward, and to become the calm, kind witness to your own inner climate. Tend to your own atmosphere. Plant gardens in your own soil. Build a hearth within your own being so warm and inviting that anyone, including that mirrored soul, would only ever be drawn there by the authentic glow, never pushed by the force of your need. The promise of this connection was not a promise of a perfect, pain-free merging. It was a promise of awakening. And look, you are awake. You are here, navigating this exquisite pain, questioning these deep patterns, feeling everything so acutely. That is the signpost, not of a failed mission, but of a ripening one. You are being sanded down to your essential grain, polished by absence, clarified by silence, so that you can recognize your own reflection when it finally stands before you, not as a project, but as a peer. The path forward is not a frantic navigation toward them. It is a peaceful, deliberate homecoming to yourself. And from that place of quiet, unshakable belonging, you will know what to do. Not because a guru told you, but because the noise has ceased. And in the stillness, you can finally hear the unique, glorious rhythm of your own heart, beating perfectly, all on its own, already complete. And that sound, dear soul, is the only sound that ever truly echoes across the divide, calling another whole heart home.